Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Right. So, yes, so today we are on text 15, which is the last of this particular mini section, which is applying. So we learned about the knowledge in the first 10 verses. The next 5 verses, Krishna is telling us how to apply this knowledge. So let's see what text 15 says. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 15. Evam gyatva kritam karma purverapi mumukshubhi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvataram kritam. All the liberated souls, so translation of Prabhupada ki jai. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. So we go on to the purport, which is, I've divided into 2 screens. So I'll just quickly, so I maybe go towards the end of my list so I can find devotees who haven't recited before. We've got Satish Prabhu, Satish Devalukya. If you can recite the first paragraph, please, first page this, and then the second paragraph, you can ask Surabhi Mataji. If you can, so Satish Prabhu, if you're there, if you can unmute yourself. Okay, not working. So
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you mean Sailesh or Satish?
Satish, sorry, about Satish.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, Sailesh Prabhu, because Satish Prabhu is not unmuting, so Sailesh Prabhu, maybe you can take over. At least you've got the same second name.
Okay, I'm surprised. I've never come across anybody else with my surname.
Did I misread the name? Maybe. My eyesight is failing. Let me just quickly see. So maybe you're right. Actually, I'm looking. Yes, I was misreading the name. There is no Satish. It's only Shailesh. Sorry about that.
Because I was amazed to see if there's anybody else with my surname. That's all. Okay, so I'll read page 1.
Yes, please. If you read this page 1, please.
Okay. There are 2 classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their hearts, and some of them are materially free. Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. Those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Krishna consciousness for a gradual cleansing process, following the regulative principles of devotional service. Those who are already cleansed of the impurities may continue to act in the same Krishna consciousness so that others may follow their exemplary activities and thereby be benefited. Foolish persons or neophytes in Krishna consciousness often want to retire from activities without having knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Arjuna's desire to retire from activities on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord. Prabhuji, can you move the screen?
You are muted, Mukunda-Hari.
Can't hear you.
One need only know how to act. To retire from the activities of Krishna consciousness and to sit aloof, making a show of Krishna consciousness, is less important than actually engaging in the field of activities for the sake of Krishna. Arjuna is here advised to act in Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of the Lord's previous disciples, such as the sun god Vivashvan, as mentioned here in before. The Supreme Lord knows all his past activities as well as those of the persons who acted in Krishna consciousness in the past. Therefore, he recommends the acts of the sun god who learned this art from the Lord some millions of years before. All such students of Lord Krishna are mentioned here as past liberated persons engaged in the discharge of duties allotted by Krishna. Hare Krishna.
You're muted, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Jolly Mataji. Thank you very much. The dreaded mute button. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadhatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sadhajatam Sahagana Gunatan Mitam Tam Sajivam Sadhavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Ladita Shri Vishakam Vishwamsya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. So what we're going to do, we just go back to the verse for a second, if I can, if the screen will let me. So, yeah, here, first of all, it says, in the translation, it says that all liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. So, of course, this refers to something that has been said before. So directly this refers to the previous verse, text 14, which Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu must have done yesterday, where it says, there is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. But one who understands, one who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in fruitive action of work. So this understanding, which means this particular understanding that for the Lord, there is no work. There's a verse in the Vaivashvatara Upanishad, which goes, Natasya karyam karanam na vidyate, natasyamasya bitakasya drishyate, parasya shakti vividaiva shruyate, swabhaviki jnana bala kriyasya. In that verse, it says the same thing, that the Lord has no work. He has no work to do, nor there is anybody equal or beyond him. So that understanding, if we work with that understanding, we will not get entangled. And so in this verse, it says that the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. It's very clear that we have to follow that. We have to follow this, and the word purve, 3 times, purve, purve, purvataram in this verse. Purve first time says by past, purve second time says by the predecessors, the third time, purvataram means in ancient times. So literally, our system is the parampara system, and we follow in the footsteps of our previous acharyas. This is the main thrust of this particular text and purport, and we'll delve deeper into this. So moving on, just as usual, we pick main points of the purport, and we will see what we can discuss from there. So the first part is mentioning there are two classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their mind, within their hearts, and some of them are materially free. So persons who are materially polluted, it refers to most of us, certainly me. Some of you will be in the second category. Most of you will probably be in the second category where you are materially free. But definitely for some person like you. So for us, the situation is very bad. It is confusion. Polluted means completely confusion. We just don't know where we are. And this is our stage. We are the signpost. We just don't know whichever way we turn. It just one difficulty after the other. And for this condition, it's actually our natural condition is to be completely peaceful, completely free from all anxiety. Vaikuntha, that is the stage. The place is called Vaikuntha because it is without. Vai means without, and Kuntha means miseries. So Vaikuntha, that is our position. But we are that's our normal condition, but we are all in a disease condition. Right now, we're all in a disease. Human life, we're all in a disease condition because of the covering of Maya. There's a Sanskrit term for this disease. Anybody tell me what that name is? It's called Bhavarog. Bhava refers to this sansar and roga. So it says the roga of bhava, of being born in the material world. So every one of us is in that situation, unless you have found the solution. And the solution in human life, this solution is only possible to be found in human life. That is a tragedy. We, in all other 8.4 million, so 8 out of 8.4 million, 8 million species are non-human. Other 400 species are human species. So all those 8 million species have no hope of finding the solution. But in human species, out of the 400,000 human species, there are very few categories of civilized human species. And this is where we fall in. Fortunately, all of us have fallen into the civilized human society category. So we can find a solution. If we have the will, we can find a solution. And what is the solution? The solution is to be single-minded. Of course, there's only 2 tracks here. And those 2 tracks refer to Swadharma and Sanatan Dharma. Each one of us have got our own duties, prescribed duties, so we have to follow those as well. But we should not ignore our Sanatan Dharma, our spiritual duties. So if we stay on that path strictly, then we find the success, we find the solution. The solution is in the Bhagavad Gita, as this picture is saying. But for those who are left without Bhagavad Gita, meaning those who are not following the process of spirituality, for them, the second picture, where the tracks are going all over the place. And our mind, like in the first picture, is just literally, going from post to pillar, from one difficulty to another difficulty. But the left side of the final picture, where you got a straight path, is what is described in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 41, where Krishna says, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekaha kurunandana ahushakayanantasya buddhayo vyavasayinam, where he says that those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. But the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. That many-branched refers to somebody who is always confused. That one day they believe in this, next day they believe in that, and they were just basically, just taken by the wind without a rudderless ship. So we know now from these lessons we're learning from the Bhagavad Gita and wonderful purpose of Srila Prabhupada, where we need to try and be. Try and get on the straight and the narrow, stick to Bhagavad Gita teachings of our Lord Krishna, and you cannot go wrong. We cannot go wrong. So Prabhupada speaks about those two classes. And of course, Prabhupada spoke about the second class, where some of them are materially free. So those who are materially free, even if they are in this body, in this material world, they can remain aloof from all the difficulties. And again, a Sanskrit term for this state, anybody? Sanskrit term for being liberated even within this body, even in this life?
Jivan Mukta.
Ajay Mukund Prabhu, we didn't hear you.
Jivan Mukta, Prabhu.
Jivan Mukta, it's Jivan Mukta sa uchyate, exactly. So persons who have got this state of mind where we are not at all entangled with the material going ons, then although we are acting and doing things in the material world, we are consciously not taking part in it. So we are called Jivan Mukta. So these are the two classes of men. And these two classes of men are described in the 15th chapter, text 16. This is the first verse of the Triloki Bhagavad Gita. We have the Three Shloki. Chatur Shloki is in the 10th chapter, as we know, 8 to 10. And now in 16 to 18 is the 16, 18, yeah, is the Three Shloki Gita. Anybody know this verse, 15th chapter? Dvavivo Purushau Loke Kshara Eva Cha Kshara Sarvani Bhutani Kutastho Kshara Uchyate. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. So this is exactly what we are discussing in this shloka, today's shloka. And in this part of the purport that I have pasted here, says the Lord says that the living entities who are innumerable can be divided into two classes, the fallible and the infallible. The living entities are eternally separated part and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When they are in contact with the material world, they are called Jiva Bhuta. And the Sanskrit words given here, Kshara Sarvani Bhutani, means they are fallible. Those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, are called infallible. Then he clarifies, just for make sure that we don't think about the impersonal oneness. He says, oneness does not mean that they have no individuality, but there is no disunity. They are all agreeable to the purpose of the creation. So as long as we follow in the path of advanced devotees and instructions of Krishna, then that means oneness, which means we are in oneness in terms of our consciousness with Krishna, not that we are in oneness to be one with him, like that. Yeah, this is that. Let's move on to the next part, where Prabhupada is saying Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. Those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Krishna consciousness for a gradual cleansing process, following the regulatory principles of devotion service. So how this process of cleansing works is in the Sikshashtakam, verse 1. I'm sure all of us know this verse. Can anybody recite it?
Hare Krishna Mukunda-Hari, Prabhu, can I do
Yes, I knew that you would know it. Palika Mataji, go ahead.
that? Cetodarpanamarjanam Bhavu Mahapapagni Nirvapanam Srivaikiravachandika Vitaranam Vidya Budhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Punnamita Sadhanam Sharvatma Shapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Palika Mataji. Such a sweet voice as well. That makes a big difference.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. So, Cheto Darpana Marjam, this is what's happening. So that cleansing, that the Cheta means our consciousness, our heart. Darpana means the mirror. The mirror of our heart is cleansed. Marjana. Marjana means cleansing. Bhava Maha Davagni. So, this world is compared to like a huge fire, forest fire. Davagni means forest fire. Maha, huge fire, forest fire. And what does the Cheta Darpana do? We cleansing, chanting the names of the Lord and following the process is Nirvapanam. It extinguishes this huge fire that we all go all in. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. That means the benediction moon, the rays of the benediction moon are increased. Vidya Vadu Jivanam. So life becomes full of knowledge. We are currently studying the chapter of transcendental knowledge, chapter 4. But this, by chanting the names of the Lord, following the processes of Krishna consciousness, we Vidya Vadu. It is said just Vadu. The word Vadu in Sanskrit can mean with, or also can mean wife, as we know. So Vidya Vadu means that you are with Vidya, with knowledge, or it could also mean just like an obedient wife follows the husband in life. Similarly, if you follow the process, Vidya will follow us. Right? Ananda Ambuddhi Vardhanam. Ananda Ambuddhi, 2 words. Ananda Ambuddhi. Ambuddhi means ocean. Ananda Ambuddhi Vardhanam. So ocean of bliss is always increasing. And then Patipadam Purnamita Swadanam. At every step, we're getting Ananda, not just simple Ananda, Purnamita Ananda, full of nectar. And this process, Sarmatma Smapanam, it cleanses all souls. And this is Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. In a lecture in Mumbai in April 11, 1971, Sri Prabhupada is saying, please take to this chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is our only request, Prabhupada is saying. You are not losing anything, but you are gaining very much. Simply chanting, it will cleanse your heart. Prabhupada so clearly is giving this instruction. So then, for those who are already cleansed of these impurities, they also continue to act in the same Krishna consciousness. It's not that we are doing this process and then we come to the end of this process and we stop. We reach our perfection and we stop. Like for example, you go to university, when you get a degree, then you stop learning. That's it. I'm done. Now I'll get a job and carry on. No. Here in Krishna consciousness, the means and the end are the same. So we're chanting now, we're practicing Krishna consciousness now to become perfect. And what do we do when we become perfect? Whether we are perfect as a Jivan Mukta in this life, or whether we are perfect in the spiritual world, we still do the same thing. We still chant and serve the Lord, whether we are here or whether we are in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, we chant to please the Lord, to serve the Lord directly, face to face. In the material world, we chant. Why? And why you follow? Although we ourselves have reached the goal and we are perfect, why do we continue to practice the process? Like Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada didn't need to chant. Srila Prabhupada was a perfected being, but he still carried on. Why? That's explained, that we recently read in the 3rd chapter, text 20, where he says that kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by performance of prasad duty, just simply to set the example for the general people. So we do that. Once we reach the perfect position, we then carry on following these principles so that others who are following us can also follow, can carry on and get successful. Again, in 3rd chapter, text 21, Yad Yad Acharate Shreshtas Tatat Evetero Jana Sayat Pramanam Kurute Lokash Tadanuvartate. So whatever action a great man performs, the common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the worlds follow. So both ways we carry on chanting. foolish person, Prabhupada says, or neophytes in Krishna consciousness often want to retire from activities without having knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So either somebody who is very early in Krishna consciousness, they hear some lectures about vairagya and renunciation, and they say, wow, they're completely not ready, but they say, I want to renounce. The other side is, okay, somebody who is following an impersonal path, they just want to renounce. They don't think about anything else. They just want to stop activities completely. But it is said, again, third chapter, 21. No, sorry, not 21. In this case, third chapter, text 5. It says, Nahi kashik shananapi jatu tesyati karma krit. Karyate hivasha karma sarva prakriti jher gune. They say no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. People can say, oh, I'm doing nothing, I'm just sitting, but you're sitting and you're breathing, you're still doing something. Your mind is still running and thinking about things, so you're doing something. Nobody can be completely thoughtless. So in that sense, we are not able to be completely free of any action. But so here, we need to retire with knowledge. And what is knowledge? What is real knowledge? Real knowledge is to understand Krishna, and real knowledge is to know that everything I do, I want to do it for Krishna. So by keeping Krishna at the center, we are able to renounce things properly. And this is explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar Devotion, texts 1 to 255, 256. Anashaktesha vishayan yatharam upayunjata nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyate papanti kachaya kataya buddhya hari sambandhe vastunaha mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam palgu katyate. The translation goes, when one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relationship to Krishna, he is rightly situated above possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of his relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. So here, in the context of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's desire, Prabhupada says in the purport actually, Arjuna's desire to retire from activities on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord, because he was trying to retire in the first sense, the sense of I want to just give up just for the sake of it. And finally, when he actually heard the Gita and he understood the message of Krishna, he then fought the war for Krishna, which is the right way to go. Let's see what else I've got. Okay, then Prabhupada says Arjuna is here advised to act in Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of the Lord's previous disciples, such as the sun god Vivasvan, as mentioned here in 4. So as sun god Vivasvan mentioned in the very first verse of this chapter, where Krishna says, I first instructed this science of yoga to the sun god Vivasvan. So we must follow in the footsteps of previous Acharya. So the nectar of instruction this time, Rupa Goswami in the third text is talking about activities which guarantee success in spiritual life. Utsaha nishya dhairya tattat karma nipravartanat sangatyaga sato vrite sadbir bhakti prasiddhyati. So here he says there are six principles favorable to execution of pure devotional service. First, being enthusiastic. This is all we need to survive and succeed. All six. Be enthusiastic, endeavor with confidence, be patient, act according to regulated principles such as Shramvaram, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, like hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. Abandoning the associations of non-dear devotees, because bad association will drag us down. And 6, to follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. That's what we're discussing right now. Follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. I'm trying to think of another term in Sanskrit. It talks about following in the footsteps of acharyas, but it's not coming now. Anyway, so these 6 principles undoubtedly, Rupa Goswami is saying, assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So last week we spoke about the two paths of assimilating knowledge, the Aroha path, Aroha Pantha and Avaroha Pantha, so descending knowledge. So we follow the descending knowledge, and descending knowledge means literally following the footsteps of previous acharyas. We follow what they are doing and what they are saying. So that is the process. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada quotes this verse quite often, especially the last line of this verse, where this verse goes, Tarko Pratishta Shuyato Vibhinna, Nasa Shrishi Yasya Matam Na Bhinnam, Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam, Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. You hear this last line from Prabhupada all the time. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking to Brahmana in Vrindavan when he was visiting Vrindavan. He's saying, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. So he's talking about here the Aroha Pantha, just by studying ourselves, trying to make sense of things. No, the solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. So you see, it's hidden in the heart of a pure devotee. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajanas advocate. So these Mahajanas, the advanced devotees, by following them, we can make success of our life, not by trying to reinvent the wheel ourselves. So that's the main thrust of this text. And then lastly, I just wanted to, he's talking about the Mahajanas, Mahajana Katana Sapantha. So Prabhupada says that all such students of Krishna are mentioned here as past liberated persons engaged in the discharge of duties allocated by Krishna. So there are many successful devotees. There are many authorities that we can follow and make a success. But there are 12 particular personalities mentioned by Dhruva Maharaj. No, sorry, Prahlad Maharaj. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 7th canto, 6th canto rather, 6th canto. And can anybody name these 12 Mahajans?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
The 12 Mahajan is Kapila Muni,
Yes.
Shankar Bhagwan,
Yes.
Shiva,
Yes.
then Janak Maharaj, Narad Muni,
Yeah.
Dhruv Maharaj,
Yes.
Yamraj, Daksha. I'm not sure about Daksh. No, Daksha. No.
Okay. You got
four Kumaras.
Four Kumaras, yes. And their father?
Kapila Muni.
No, who is the father of the four Kumaras?
Brahma.
Brahma, exactly.
Bhishma Pitama.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Urmila Ben, thank you so much. So I think we've got them all. So that verse in the 6th canto, if you want to look at this 6, 3, 20 and 21. Swayambhu Nada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu, Parlado Janaka Bhishmo Bali Vayashaki Vayam. Vadashaite Vijanimo Dharmam Bhagavatam Bata Guhyam Vishuddham Durbodham Yam Yatma Mitam Ashnute. So Swayambhu refers to Lord Brahma, Narada, of course, Lord Narad, Shambhu, Shiva, Kumara, 4 Kumaras, Lord Kapila, Manu, that one we didn't mention actually. Yeah, the Swayambhu Manu. Then Prahlad we mentioned, Janak we mentioned. Oh, Janak maybe we didn't, I think we mentioned Dhruva, but Janak, he's not there. Janaka is here. Bhishma is there, we mentioned. Bali. Bali also don't think we mentioned. And then who is Vayashakti? We didn't mention that. Who is that?
Is that Sukha?
Shukadev Goswami, exactly, Shukadev Goswami. And then Vayam actually, in that word actually means we. We It's like a royal we, means I. And he's, of course, this verse is spoken by Yamaraj. So that Vayam refers to Yamaraj himself. So these are the 12 Mahajans. I will stop now, devotees, and I will invite any comments, questions, corrections, etc. So main meaning is, yes, we have to follow the precepts of the previous acharyas. These 12 Mahajans are mentioned, but whoever's in our immediate vicinity, it could be our guru, it could be our Shiksha Guru, not just Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. It could be our mentor, it could be our Sangha leader. Whoever we know for sure is actually following in this path properly. And this is important. Make sure that we follow, we hold on to somebody who's not 100%, then you also become less than 100%. Try and hold on to somebody's coattail who's going in the right direction, and we will automatically get there. That's the main point. Anybody? The other example, Prabhupada often gives the example of how, for example, you may be riding a bicycle, which is going very slowly, maybe 2 or 3 miles an hour. But if you happen to hold on to a truck that is going 30 miles an hour, you would also start moving at the same speed as the truck. I don't recommend it. If any of you are bikers, don't do it. Don't try it at home. It's very dangerous. But anyway, you get the point. Any comments, anybody? Let me see in the chat. Okay, looks like everything is very clear. Yes, I've got Namrata Mataji put a comment there. Everything's very clear. That's very nice. Nice to hear that. Yeah, it's very, very clear message. Prabhupada has often repeated this. We hear this in many, many classes. So it's very straightforward. Just a question of us putting it into practice. Oh, one question here just from Jay Prabhu. Do those who have become Jivan Muktas have any self-awareness or knowledge that they are in this state? Oh, that's a wonderful, wonderful question, actually, Jay Prabhu. See, the irony is that when we are at a neophyte stage, like my stage, I think that I am a very good devotee. I think I'm better than most. I think I'm really great. But as they say, I haven't experienced it, but they say that as you make progress in spiritual life, you start thinking the reverse. You think, I'm the only one who hasn't made it. Everybody else is a great devotee. So these Jivan Muktas, although they are in that state themselves, they may not necessarily even realize it themselves, right? The only real fact is they will be feeling amazing bliss, because all our difficulties, all our anxiety is because of attachment. Full stop. Everything comes down to that. Everything boils down to that. All anxieties are due to attachment. A quick example I can give you is that if I hear, a few weeks ago, I got a message from my neighbor that my daughter's got COVID. And of course, I sent a message back, thank you, we are praying for her quick recovery and all that. But that was it. I literally, a few minutes later, I forgot about it, because there's not that much attachment. Well, there's almost zero attachment to that little girl that has got COVID. So I'm not being heartless here, but that's the fact of life, right? I went on with my business. Now imagine if it was happening to my own child, right? Now, because of that attachment, I will be so anxious about the condition, about how quickly that my son, my daughter will recover, right? So attachment is the cause root of anxiety. So this Jivan Mukta literally means they have left all the attachments. So automatically they will be fully blissful. But they still don't think themselves as the Mahajans. That's the main point. I hope that answers the question, Jay Prabhu.
Yes, thank you. It does, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, I've got, again, I'm forgetting the name of this person, KKHH. I always forget the name. But you're saying, please elaborate on the train track examples. Okay, right. So the example in that picture actually showed like a big junction where there were so many tracks going in different places, right? So that is, if you're in that state, you're confused, you don't know which track to take, then you could take any of those tracks. And, if you're lucky, you will be on the right path. If you're unlucky, you're on the wrong path. But if you are single-minded and there's only one set of tracks that you want to follow, in this case, the only set of tracks I want to follow is the set of tracks that Srila Prabhupada has set for us. Then I'm sure that I'm going to reach my destination without any distraction. So that I hope that helps a little bit. Then I've got 2 more messages. Let's see. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. We got Rasadeva Mataji, Rasadeva Srimati Mataji appreciating the recitation by Usha Mataji and Niti Lakshmana Mataji. Thank you. Santosh Mataji, thank you for your appreciation. And there's also Mamta Mataji, yes, thank you for your appreciation, Mataji. Surabhi Mataji, yeah. So, Pranam, yes, I relate with the second train picture. Thank you for a thoughtful session. I was thinking of the train track picture all the time. So, Surabhi Mataji, it's not just you. I'm also in the same position. I can give a class because I'm reading and I'm hearing from different people. I can put it together and present it here. But in real life, we're all struggling with that situation. We're all in that situation. We're all work in progress. It's a question of just remaining on the boat of Srila Prabhupada, and we will get to our destination. But yes, we all, to a lesser or greater degree, we are all on that confused train tracks. Thank you. Yes, a question again from KKRRHHH. Train tracks can imply do both material duties, spiritual duties, not neglect. Yes, correct. I did mention that, Prabhu. I did say that actually in real life, we have 2 duties, Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. Swadharma is our material duties that we have with our families. We cannot abandon our families. We cannot be irresponsible. So we perform those duties as well. But we then also make sure that we follow the second track, which is the spiritual duties, the Sanatana Dharma. That is our eternal Dharma. Our Dharma with our families is only for this lifetime, right? At the end of this lifetime, we will forget who they are, definitely. And they will forget us after a few years. Maybe there will be a photograph somewhere in a room with a garland on, thinking, oh, that was my father, that was my grandfather, and died in such and such year. That will be just like a vague memory. But the Sanatana Dharma, we have to remember all the time, because that is something we will continue life after life. And as we were saying earlier in the class, we will continue that Dharma even in the spiritual world. So that is important. So we continue both, we do both. So literally we do our material duties, but we keep Krishna in the center. And that way we're going on the 2-track train path. Thank you, Prabhu. So I've got Parda. So Parda Mataji, or I'm not sure Parda was Prabhu Mataji, sorry if I got it wrong. In material world, though we are unattached, still we need to perform activities. Sorry. Yeah, still, for example, I mentioned if family member is sick, yes, we are worried, not because something that, yeah, exactly. So absolutely right. Yes, we do. We cannot be irresponsible. We have to look after. We would be concerned if somebody in the family was sick. So it's not that kind of attachment. We're talking about not that kind of detachment. In the class we mentioned about the kind of detachment the Mayavadi philosophers, they want to just give up everything, full stop. No, we don't do that. This path, Prabhupada never said that you abandon your family. yes, you take care of the family. I'm talking about the grihasthas. There are very few who may be able to just straight away take a brahmachari life and then take a sannyas life. So those persons will actually give up their family. But very few of them can do that. For most of us in the grihastha life, we are taught to be responsible grihasthas and to look after our families, be responsible for them, take care of them, but with Krishna consciousness in mind. Thank you, Deepak Prabhu, for your appreciation. Okay, devotees, coming up to 10 to 9, so we will call it a day. Happy Kartik month to everybody. Hope everybody is chanting, reading, and studying more. Thank you so much. All go to Shri Prabhupada. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.